Hello, fellow dragons, and it is with a heavy heart and also a happy heart too, because the game has come to an end. I've sat in my little hidey hole for enough days to sort of speed on the process of the game, and we are now at the end, so we can choose whichever ending we like. The basic premise is there are four endings. Like, two are kind of the same sort of ending but different in one way or another. But there are effectively three kind of endings. There's one where you get out via the well. There is another one where you commit suicide. And the third one is, well, the one that you basically came into this game at the beginning to finish the game with, is to wake up the king. But that being said, I'm not sure what's going to happen after that point. So, yeah, there's one thing I want to try and look at before I finish this game. And I'll have to go for a wander to remember where it is. But there is one place I want to go that I haven't been for quite a while. And that is the treasure room. Because apparently you can cut through the glass and get to the treasure. I've got four pickaxes. I've got nothing better to do. And it is nearly time to awaken the king, so why not? So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the end of this, because with doing the end of this, I now have the capability of... Hoo-hoo, that's bad. Let's stop that. I have the capability of just finishing this game off and really seeing where I'm going after this. I think one thing that everyone has commented about this game and has said about it with the entirety of doing this entire game is that a lot of people have been really happy to sit there and watch going through this game. And I know a lot of people have skimmed the videos basically to find out what the answer is to one thing or another. And there are plenty of tutorials online to tell you how to find all the bits and pieces. But this is a game that is unique in itself. It's full of a strangeness that I don't think every other game occupies, and it's a strangeness that we should embrace more often when it comes to games. This concept. The funny thing is, if I look at playing Dark Souls or something like that, it reminds me a lot of learning to be patient, enjoying the moment, and going through the motions of getting somewhere and doing something. And I think a lot of that is what matters here. You have to really know what it's all about. So, if memory serves me right, I think the treasure cave is over on the right side. I can't... Don't quote me, because I can't remember 110%. But I'm pretty sure it's over on the right side. But seeing as this is my last time really being in this game world, I am going to explore it and see how far I can get. But I think if I ever played this game again, I would play it a lot differently, seeing as I know how a lot of it works differently now. Dum bum. In you go, George. Good old faithful George. Hey, I'm smart. That's what I am. Use Matic. Try it anyway. I broke it. That was a complete failure. Use Matic. Try it anyway. Yay! Oh, wow. I'm glad I'm finished using all my Matics for everything now. Ooh, I've cracked the glass. It's only a matter of time before it breaks completely. Matter of time? What? I have to wait. You bastard. Of course I'm going to have to wait for it. Now, is it actually showing? Oh, we'll go for a wander up to the well and see if the thing that happens up there is going to happen. There we go. Oh, hold on. Hold on. I need to make sure that I earmark this place. Yeah, this one all good. There we go. Alright. Let's go up to the well. Eventually that will crack. Give it time. And I'll be happy when it cracks, because then I will have achieved some things that I've been meaning to do for a long time. I don't know if I'm going to miss George when I'm finished doing this. I think I will. Maybe. Because I think what made this game more for me was the mystery of figuring out so many different things. But at the same time, having the freedom to just sit around and wait for answers. Also, the designers of this game gave you answers through books, visual things, and George the Shade here, who decided every so often he would tell you a thought on his mind, and you go, what the hell is he talking about? And then you go back and you'd figure out that's what he was talking about. It takes X amount of time to do this, it takes X amount of time to do that, and so on and so forth. There was a lot of all that in all the design of this game, and I don't think at any point it made sense until you actually got to that point. Like getting past the overhang where you had to get into the library, you had to wait for an entire pond to fill, otherwise there was no way of getting into that particular thing. Opening a door that took, I think, several hours to open up, or 24 hours. It took a long time, and I thought, okay, I'll come back to that at some point, and all sorts of things like that. That was the thing. Like, even that room where it gave you the ability to see a map, but you had to literally stand there and look at a map, and eventually it scoped out so that you could see the entire world that was contained within this cavern system, and it didn't make any sense whatsoever. So I go for a wander up to the well area and just wait around there for a bit, because supposedly something happens there that teaches you how to get out of here, but I want to wake up the king, and that is what we're going to do at the end of this episode. We're going to wake up the king, and it's going to be all done. And I'll be really happy. Well, I believe I'm going to be happy, because it's going to fulfill that little nub inside my heart. It's like, I played this game for X amount of days. I want to see a closure. And we all have that feeling. The question that arises in my mind, how hard is it to do, you know, I don't know, give George warp speed shoes so he can just go. But I think that's the other thing that this game was really good about, is that it didn't take any shortcuts. It set out with a premise, and everything in the game is still surrounding that premise. It didn't change anything, it didn't deviate from it or anything. It kept that one premise the entire way. You had to wait, you had to be patient, you had to spend your time and do something rather than just sit there and grow a beard. Present company excluded, apparently. But it was just an amazing sensation and feeling of a growth inside yourself. And I don't think anyone gets that growth all the time. But, you know, I could be slinging shit for all I know. Ugh. And YouTube Australia is going to go nuts because apparently they have to give more rights and more analytics and stuff to the news broadcasters out there. So us little YouTubers in Australia are going to get creamed. There will be no AdSense, there will be no money revenue, there will be squat. Why? Because governments like money. Always reminds me of Mr. Crab whenever you talk about government. It's like, I like money. It's like, of course you like money. Why else would you be in politics? You wouldn't be in politics because you actually believe in the rights of people. Hell, that would mean you actually did your job. I love politicians. I love how they keep on telling you that they're doing their job. And at the end of the day, they don't do their job. It's sad. But an unexpected reality of which we live in. We give people power and they abuse that power. It seems to be a metaphor for existence itself. But, yeah. Like, that was another thing I liked about this game, where you had to get a spider loose of a web, and then the spider had to go to a place where you could spin a web, and eventually the spider died because spiders have a limited lifespan. And then you got to bury the spider, and then when the spider was buried, eventually a flower grew where he was buried, and you got to memorize him with that flower. And I thought that was really nice. An inanimate creature, a creature that really is beneath George here. Mind you, George is made literally from soot and thought. And they took the time to make it so that George could appreciate the spider. I thought that was really a brilliant concept. But now, the ending is coming nigh. Things are nearly done. And I'm going to go up to the well, and I'm going to just sit there see what happens there, and then go and wake up the king. Why the king, you say? Because that was the original reason behind the game. You were set the task of waiting 400 days for the king to awake. To wake up the king. You're his alarm bell. If you don't wake him up, what other reason was your purpose? And again, you come into the philosophy of this game. I always found it weird that the mushrooms make music. Ba, ba. Actually, I've been playing Animal Crossing, and I'm getting quite deep into that at the moment. I'm enjoying it. I can't say it's a bad thing to play. But yeah, it's an interesting game to play. You get very attached to your villages, you get very attached to your island in general. But yeah, it would be good to see the end of this game. I think I'm looking forward to it most because in some respects this has been hanging over my head for the last year and a half. And I've been looking at and waiting for it to finish, and I've been doing these videos for it. And I've come to this point where I think about it and I go, huh, I'm going to be finished with this soon. It's like, huh. And it's just that it's not a hollow feeling, it's more a shock that you've got to the end. Like, it's all noughts right across the top there. Like 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. Like, I never thought I'd see that day. Like, I was thinking I was going to get pissed off and uninstalled or something stupid like that, but no, I managed to keep on going and doing the whole thing, and I was surprised. I didn't think I'd end up doing that, but I did. And I think I'm more surprised by you, the viewer out there that's been watching these. And I look back at the videos and it's mostly me rambling. It's mostly me just chatting to myself and talking in my own sort of silence in my own head. But that said, I have enjoyed the time I've spent doing this, and I think I've enjoyed most the response from people that have found this game or just been watching my playthrough of the game, and they've really enjoyed it. And I thought, wasn't it nice that a single player game that has such a weird premise can make a whole lot of people enjoy a game, and especially watching a 43-year-old bugger doing the whole thing. Will you stop freezing? I hate it when it does that. Makes me feel like something's gone wrong every time. I don't know why they designed the save system to be so unbelievable, or the time checker. And now we come to the creepy sound caves. Caves sounding like caves. Who would have thunk it? I've nearly finished Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, Tsushima. Sorry. And it was a good game. I know a lot of people have rated it high and stuff, but at the same time, for me being such an old gamer, I've been gaming for I'd have to say 35 years. I've been playing one game or another off and on. I played the arcades. I had an Atari 2600. I've played my friend's Commodore 64s. Ah, Commodore 64s. The days when you sort of like loaded in the tape, typed in the command line, and you hoped to hell that the game would load up. Oh, those days. And of course, copying games was much easier those days. You'd buy the game off the retailer, take it home, record it onto another cassette, and then put that cassette away, snip the old cassette, and return it and say, oh, it's broken. It's like, oh, well, you'll get a refund. It's like, and I got a free game. But yeah, pirating will always be rampant. I think it's a simple fact of life. I think the main reason why people in the industry don't understand pirating is because a lot of people, when they get to a certain level of income or a certain level of success, they don't understand that when you're poor and you still desire the things that they're trying to market to you, unless it's at a price that people are willing to spend, people will pirate it. People will steal it as quick as possible. And the same goes with demand. Like, if you can't get what you're going to get, well, you're going to pirate it, aren't you? And it's simple as that. So, sometimes I think these companies need to understand that if you make it so that it's easy for people to watch something or do something, then the chance of people pirating or stealing it or robbing you of it becomes much, much smaller. Like, why do games get pirated? Because they're so damn expensive. And I'm not talking the indie games or whatnot. Like, paying $5, $20, $30 for a game, I only mean Australian dollars, and you can translate it to whatever price you want to translate in your country. But dropping the price significantly down to that bracket, regardless of what it costs you to make the game, in order to make a profit, you need bums on seats. And the quickest way to get bums on seats is to put it as cheaply as possible. Sell more for low. That is the basic key. And I think a lot of people don't understand that in the industry. And especially when you have titles like... What's the title? Think. You take a title like Stardew Valley. I use Stardew Valley as a litmus test for so many things. But you take Stardew Valley, made by one guy, done over 4 years. He's almost quadrupled the amount of money and time and effort it took him to make that one game. And he pays back everyone with that commitment of giving the game what it is. And I think, honestly, that is to be commended, because without that kind of commitment, it just makes things. But back to the concept of piracy, because he does that, he sells a game for cheap. Everyone goes, ooh, that's not that expensive, I'll buy it. And all of a sudden, you're making a butt ton of money off this one game because lots of people buy it. If you sell everyone a thing for $1, you sell 1,000,000 things for $1, you get $1 million back. Like, if the thing cost you virtually nothing to begin with, why make people pay through the nose for a thing? I know a lot of companies, they spend a lot on computer generation stuff and time and other people's time and a whole lot of other things that are invested as money. But at the same time, when you're selling to people, why rake them over the coals and make them pay a small fortune? It's kind of my argument against microtransactions. Like forcing people to use microtransactions to do everything. That's just insanely stupid. I have never bought a single thing on Fortnite myself, ever. And I've enjoyed that game for whatever it is. But I know a lot of other people, they... Look, I have children, and I have young children, and Fortnite is like their life, and their God-forgiven thing. And it's like, why? Why must you torture me, children? But they do. Children do it to you all the time. But it's one of those horror stories, those horror things that microtransactions ruin games. They make the game seem cheap. They make the game seem not worth your time. Or worse yet, you wonder, why am I playing the game if I can pay for something to get something done really quickly? It takes the reward away from a game. It destroys the game. Like, it would be like making the money that gamblers got as a reward for gambling worthless. So like, oh, look, you're winning millions of dollars. Now let's translate that back into real world money from our chips, and you get here $3 for your time. He spent 7 hours in the casino to earn those millions of dollars. That's the kind of thing that microtransactions give that concept. It robs you of a level of success. And loot boxes are a different thing, but the same sort of thing. It's the kind of concept of scratchies. Like, you scratch it and it's like, ooh, I won $2. It's like, yes! But at the same time, how many times did you buy scratchies in order to get that $2? And so on and so forth. It's just not very nice. I would love if we could see this cave all lit up and actually see what it looks like. It's probably just a massive corridor that has no details in it whatsoever. Or it could be just a massive cave system. Either way, I like it. Oh, that went down the wrong way. For those of you that haven't figured out, I'm actually doing this to string out the game. But at the same time, I'd really like to hear from other players and people about not only what you've been playing, but what it is that you enjoy about playing games. Because for me, it's an escapism. I feel dragged down by my life and the other things around me, so I enjoy the game, so it takes me out of what I am. It's a bit like why I make videos and stream and I do reviews and stuff. It is something to kind of stave off the madness inside your own head, because being alone is a horrible, horrible thing. Anyone that doesn't understand the concept of being alone is a very lucky person or a very ignorant person. It's a bit of one or the other. Like, I think to say that being alone is better than to dealing with other people's shit is a crock of shit. It's just doesn't work. But I enjoy games for the sake of finishing games, and I enjoy games not to the point of full completionist, but feeling satisfied with what I've done in the game. And that could be literally any level, and it can be any kind of game. Like, some people feel satisfied by killing off the Minotaur monster at the first Minotaur monster in Dark Souls. Like, they finish that, it's like, yep, I'm done, I'm good, yep, I've done as good as I'll ever do, and I'm happy. I'm done. And other people was like, it's a much deeper concept. There's much more nitty gritty things that they want to get done in the game. So, yeah, satisfaction is always an important thing when it comes to games. I would love to know what the translation of most of these runes. Mind you, considering that nearly all of them repeat, I would almost hazard the guess that it simply says the longing along most of it. Or it could be just Roman numerals. Who knows? But whoever did that, hats off to you. That would have taken a lot of time. Almost as much time as it's taking to get up to this well. I forget how long this walk is. It's one of the longest walks in the entire game. But I am happy that I actually got here. I'm happy that I got my bed. I'm happy that I got all the bits and pieces done. I'm just happy with this game in general. There is very little else you can say about that. It was interesting, one person they were discussing when I was on stream, because this isn't on stream today, this is just me finishing it up because I didn't know how long it would take, and someone else is streaming in the house today, so I thought, I'll stream another day. But yeah, they were discussing about some of the things in this game, and just the feeling of having to wait and everything was kind of justified, and it really made them feel like they enjoyed some part of it to just wait. Waiting is a very hard thing. I have trouble waiting for people in general. Like, I don't have trouble sitting there and waiting for something to happen. I can understand that. I can deal with that. But waiting on other people, like waiting for another person to come do something, or waiting for another person to get something done, and it's like, oh, it hurts my brain. I must break them and do the job myself. Yeah, that kind of thing is what you feel. Like, me personally, that's what I feel. I can't say that for everyone. Everyone is much different. But sometimes, you just want to get it done, and it doesn't always work out that way. But, some people are better at being patient than I am. I'm an impatient prick. It's like, we're going to do this at some point. Do it now. Do it now, please. For the love of God, do it now. Get on with it. Superstar power. That's interesting. This is from one of my subscribers, I think. Lexiville commented, really love the concept of this game. Hope to see more like it, where it makes being patient is rewarding. And I have to agree. I like that. I really do. Let's see if I can find any more commenters. I love that. On the very first video, the entire thing, there's a commenter that says General Miyamoto now says hello there, and I'm thinking, I'm thinking that might be a very vague reference to General Kenobi and General Grievous. It's like I'm almost tempted to comment back and say General Kenobi. It's like I wonder if that's going to be like that. Let's see, another in person. Tommy Correctus, Curatina. Hey, this was great. Keep it up. Lots of little star things, and don't do that. I'm still reading, stupid phone. What else we got? That's for Persona. That's for that's that one. That one. Hey, here's another one. Red Flag thing. Red Flag's Productions. The slowness is what makes the game so great. Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. I think I can agree with it back with them and say, you can double click and keep walking. So far as the Hall of Eternity, I've found books, paper, rugs, curtains, and the head of a horse. Yes. Lots of other things. What have we got? There's another one. Mr. Mawaz. Truly a curious game. Interested to see how the game pans out. I get that the point of the game is to pretty much take your time with things in a relaxing manner, but it would be nice to be able to walk around a bit faster and explore the environment. Yeah. Bruno Games Gazer stipulates I am at the same point in video number 6. I think I was looking for wood. Talking to the face in the darkness, that's what I was doing. Another one from Bruno. I'm just waiting for in my couch. I do many arts and read all books. Yeah. He was sitting on his couch. Jeez, I got a lot of comments from that guy. Started the game today. I love it so much. The concept. I will follow you and maybe we can share our successes. I got one quietly time is running when the game is off. Sorry for the bad English. Most people speak bad English nowadays. The more important thing is to worry about whether you're saying something that is commutable that other people can understand, in my opinion. But anyway, those are some of the comments that I got for these particular videos. And I really got pumped for a lot of parts of this game that wasn't enjoyable. But yeah, and you know what? I'm not going to go with it. Well, that's it. I'm done. Let's go to the king. Let's go wait. I can't wait to sit in my armchair. Yeah. I think I just reached near halfway point. Alright. It's over. I'm finishing this. We're going back to the king and we are going to get it done. Wake up the king. Be the man I want to be. So on and so forth. Because it's been a long journey. And the thing about long journeys is that at some point you want it to end because you get tired. You get so tired in these things sometimes. These journeys, these expeditions. I think one things that I think I find most horrendous about some games is the grind. Grinding is a regular part of life because it's something that a lot of people don't understand, that we live our lives as it is, and a large proportion of our life, a good proportion of our life, is defined by grinding. And the only way to really grind is to go through the motions and get something done. And I feel I've wasted about 40 minutes of walking for no reason now. That's alright. I can always scrub this up and then edit and cut it down if I really want to, but I don't think I will. What did Steam end up giving the longing? No, hold on. Metacritic. Metacritic. The longing. And that is my stupid boy. You know, Metacritic actually does have a listing for the longing. Let's have a look-see. Yep. Wow, this got a 76 on Metacritic. Wow. 3 positive, 3 mixed. Hold on. Let's read some of the snippet reviews. The Washington Post. Every so often a game comes along that is so audacious it reminds us of how conventional and pedestrian many of the games that I've reviewed and liked are by comparison. This level of creativity reinvigorates my expectations of what games can be. I like that. Rage Quitter. A beautiful, morbid adventure game that imposes its own mechanism of time management on players' reality, causing either introspection or frustration. Ironically launched in a period when time is plenty and fruitful, introspection is sorely needed. The Gaming Machine. The longing's gripping storyline and multiple endings clash with the lack of puzzles and too many pauses. Worth to try if you are looking for an original story, but if you love to have your brain continuously tested and challenged, this is not your cup of tea. Cubed 3. Why? Why would you say cubed and then have a 3 there? It's like, why, people? No, the longing isn't perfect. It could definitely be so much more than what it is. More specifically, for something that's supposed to last for more than an actual year, you won't exactly swim in content while playing it. On the other hand, of course, this was never about content, but about getting engrossed into it all and letting the dark, empty caverns become part of you. It's hard to verbally explain how something so non-gamery achieves that, and yeah, it won't satisfy just about anyone, but lovers of indie titles with unique concepts are advised to try this out. Quotation forthcoming. Okay. CD Action. An intriguing idea of a game, but unfortunately lacks soul. I love it. Oh dear. Okay, here we go. This is from Dark Stations. The Longing is one of those video games that dares to see dares you to see it through, guiding a barely mobile creature who can't be bothered to pick up the pace a little seems so nonsensical and completely and anti-theatrical to fun. But if you're the kind of person that likes to find their own unique brand of fun in video games, like following the rules of the road in Grand Theft Auto, then The Longing is bound to trigger some sort of positive electric charge. And because much of the game can be accomplished while you're away, it's the kind of game you can have going on in the background as you sit through the longest Zoom meeting. Given the uniqueness and special circumstances of reviewing The Longing, Dark Stations does not give a score. Okay, user review. Okay, the first one is in Russian, so I can't read that. The second one seems to be written in Spanish, and that's it. You know what? I want to go and have a look at some more. Who else is... let's see if we can find any more written reviews. Let's see, Longing on Steam has many reviews. There's YouTube videos, but I'm not amongst it, damn you. Let's see, PC Gamer reviewed it. Let's see what they talked about. Yep. You can reach the end of The Longing by just waiting. You play as a creature called a Shade, a small, wide-eyed creature who is a servant to the king of a barren underground kingdom. His Royal Majesty has decided to go into a long slumber and has demanded that you wake him up when the time is right. Being reduced to a personal alarm clock is one thing, but the real kicker is that he has asked to be woken up in 400 real-time days. It's going to be a long wait. The Longing is an ideal puzzle game that takes over a year to complete. There's a timer at the top of the screen counting down the days, hours, minutes and seconds. If you're away from your computer, the timer will keep counting down. When you are playing, you're left to your own devices, free to wander the game's dark, damp caves with your little shade buddy, or you could stay in the shade's desolate room with 1,282 pages of Moby Dick for company. As I begin to guide the Shade, I became painfully obvious how slow the little guy moves. I mean, I guess from its perspective, why would it move quickly? It has all the time in the world. The Longing is intentionally slow, but as I began exploring, I found out that it's more than just an idle walking game. As you leave the chamber of the slumbering king, the world of the underground kingdom is a collection of darkened caverns. Many of the caves have multiple doors extending stairwells or long corridors, and with the pace that the Shade walks, a lot of your time will be slowly traversing these slowly endless caverns. Occasionally you'll wander into grander rooms like crystal hallways or a room that's stacked full to ceiling with gold, but they are merely the lost history of a desolate kingdom. There is no day or night cycle in The Longing, so the only indication of time passing is the countdown timer at the top of the screen. Rocks will occasionally fall down, and there are some weird noises underneath the game's dark synth soundtrack that would normally make my hair stand up on end. But because I know I'm completely isolated and that it's an indie game, it has this weird calm but lonely vibe. As you explore the cabins, there are obstacles that need to be overcome, some of which are puzzles and others just require you to wait. It could be the case of waiting 2 minutes for a door to open, 2 days for a spider to complete a web, or a whole month for mushrooms to grow. You can always quit the game and then return, or just wait alongside the shade as it waits patiently. If you leave the shade idle for long enough, it will sit on the ground and eventually lie down. If you grow tired of just holding down the mouse button or waiting for a little friend to slowly move across the screen, then you can command the shade to wander aimlessly. A feature that I have used many times. After selecting this, the shade will begin to walk on its own without you guiding it. When I selected this, I'll leave the window up on one of my monitors as the little dude does its thing. Although one time I swear I only looked away for a few minutes, and when it walked into the strange part of the cave I had never seen before, leaving me completely clueless as how it got there. The shade will comment occasionally at first on its surroundings, how lonely it is and how much time it has to wait. But it slowly starts to question its daunting task, wondering if it's even worth it. There's something so empathetic about the shade that really plucks at your heartstrings. I want to take care of it, find a book to read, colour for it to draw with, and objects to make its home cozier. After the shade muses about whether there's a world beyond the caves, I began to wonder too. I wanted to help him escape, which means searching for every inch of the enormous cavern and the inevitable waiting on the idle puzzles. There have been times when I attempted to change the date and time on my computer, but I feel like there will be consequences, and I don't want to take that chance. I'll help the shade find an escape route, or find out what happens when he wakes up the king in 400 days. Whatever comes first. That is a nice review. I actually really like that. That's a halfway decent review. Thank you so much, PC Gamer. I actually really like that one. Let's see. Who else have we got? Spirit and Dice. Ow, 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 ow. 400 Days of Isolation. The Longing is an experimental exploration indie game that may just be the longest game ever made, yet requires the least playtime to beat. Don't be fooled that this is sort of new cookie clicker or microtransaction game. However, no, the result is much weirder. You play as a shade, a spirit bound to life by an ancient magical being called the Old King. The king is about to rest and recover. Enter Odin's sleep. They have it crossed out. Rest and recover his powers so that he can bring an end to all longing and suffering. Also, he claims, he summons you just before falling asleep and tells you to wake him in 400 days, when his strength has returned. So, basically, you play as an alarm clock with feelings. The thing you have to understand is that the longing plays in real time. The time from when the king falls asleep to when you can wake him up is actually 400 days. However, that's where the idle game mechanics come in. The timer will start counting down when you're not playing. That's why I said The Longing is both the longest and shortest game ever. It takes you 400 days to beat no matter what. But you can just start the timer and that turns the game off, and then turn the game off until the time to wake up the king. Passing the time. So, assuming you don't just start the clock and walk away, what do you do for 400 days? It's a tougher question than you think. Your one and only objective in The Longing is to wake up the old king. You're the only thing in the entire kingdom, and there's no Netflix down there, so you have to find ways to entertain yourself. Your shade does have its own little home that it can spend time in. Coal is plentiful down there, and you can use it both for starting fires and drawing pictures. There's also bookshelves with a few books on it, and presumably you can find some scattered around the kingdom. Oh, and when I say book, I mean entire books. You can sit down and read Moby Dick, if that's what you want to spend a few days. They really coded all of that in there. However, most of what you'll be doing is probably exploring. The Old King's Kingdom is vast and convoluted, and you can while away many hours wandering in cabins and stairways. The exploration has also got a little bit of a Metroidvania feel to it, since more areas will open up as you progress through the game. Of course, progress in The Longing has nothing to do with finding special abilities or hidden switches. Everything is based on time. Early on, I found an area where there was a fairly long fall with a patch of moss at the bottom. My shade estimated that it would be about 2 weeks before the moss grew enough to make the jump safe. If I want to see what's past that point, I'll have to come back and wait time. These reviews are actually not that bad for this game, all things considered, considering how much of a weird game this is. But yeah, I'm not alone in the reviewer side of the camp about this game. Wet my whistle a bit because my whistle is now dry from talking way too much. Alright. So we are nearly at the end, and I thank you all so much for coming along for the journey. I thank you all so much for just learning about this game, and I also thank a lot of you who decided, I like this game and I want to try this game, and you bought it because it looked like it was something interesting, and it is something interesting. It's not just a standard sort of indie game. It's a real game that has a lot of merit to it and a lot of attention to detail that I don't think you see often enough in games sometimes. And the fact that they spent the time to make it feel like a real game and felt like something that you had to spend time, you had to get invested in. I especially getting invested in George here, because I did get invested with George. George, over time, became more important to me as a character. And I questioned which I wanted to do, and I debated on the many endings for this game. And at the end of the day, my end result was I just want to finish the game, and I want to finish the way it was supposed to be finished. So 400 days to finish the game. Yeah. Like, technically, you could probably finish the game in less time than that because of the other endings. Because you could probably finish it within the first month, maybe month and a half, and you would have the game finished. But at the same time, you would miss out on a lot of the things that you can do in the game. And I think that's much more important than anything else. So, yeah, I like it. I think it's a well worthwhile trip that, if nothing else, is, yeah, it's just a great game that you can while away a few hours of your time with. I'm gonna miss George. I really am. Because, yeah, George was... Because in some respects, George came into being for no other reason than the fact that yeah. I'm just happy to be nearing the end of this. It's one of those things, when you finish it, you know it's going to be over, and you're just not sure how you feel about that 100%. But at the same time, you know, with finishing it, it's going to do something for you. But I do agree, this is probably the longest and shortest played game I have in my library. Like, I have No Man's Sky in my library. I have, like, what is it? Almost 600 hours of gameplay in No Man's Sky. And I have barely even scratched the surface on that sometimes. There are so many things I have to try and get back and do and whatnot. It's a sink of time. Like, even Satisfactory, I've played a lot of hours of Satisfactory. But this game, I have invested myself more mentally about this game than I have time-wise, so to speak. And I think that's what is very important. Like, you only have to look at all the little quick walk points that I've gone through and spent time learning all these different things. And yeah, it has been an interesting journey. It has been an interesting, fascinating way of looking into other people's way of looking at loneliness, isolation, self-discovery. Because you do kind of start to discover parts of yourself in playing this game. And this slow, methodical walking has made a lot of difference in my mind about this game, and has actually affected my own sort of development of my game and thinking about what I want to say with my game. This game, I guess I'm saying like at the moment, this game has a premise. It keeps that premise, and it stays with that premise the entire way through the game. I can probably name 5 game titles that have that in their namesake with that concept. Metal Gear series, we're not including number 6 because that's just trash. So we'll just say Hideo Kojima's games. Mario games, they have had a premise and they stick to that premise. Is it always well done? Is it always good execution? No, but they stick to their premise. I would say Sonic games, but no. There have been too many deviations from the idea of what Sonic was trying to do a lot of the times. There are a few games. But yeah, there's very few games that you can go out there and say, okay, they're sticking to one idea and they're doing that well. And that's what this game represents. Sticking to an idea and doing it well. And I have to make a review of this game now because I've spent so much time in it. And it was well worth my time. And it's well worth your time too if you decide to sit through the video. And also my ramblings and general rumbles of my voice. It's like, yeah, I'm talking about many things in this video. And you will listen to me as I speak. 'Cause when I'm finished speaking, I'll be dead. Oh. I don't think I've heard that tune before. Okay. That's weird. Alrighty, nearly there. Going to wake up the king and go, woot, 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 woot. Wake up, dude. 'Cause it's time to wake up. I was actually fearful for a very long time that I would have to be there at a specific time in order to wake up the king. But after reading a whole lot of different little cheat guides and everything, I've found out that no, it doesn't matter. The counter will just sit at 0 and you wake up the king whenever you want. Now my mind goes to the logic like, okay, I leave this closed for like 6 years, come back, wake up the king, and it's like, oh, it's been maybe a few thousand days since you were resting. Sorry, sire, I just got bored and I had other things to do. And the king just opens up in furious wrath. But usually I've always found that people that have furious proper abilities and skills and everything rarely if ever cause injury or harm to other people. It's the idiots that get a little bit of power that are usually the ones that do the stupid stuff. You know, the kind of people that get guns and it's like, oh, I've got a gun, bang, you just killed someone. Ooh. Run away! But that might be just my opinion. I'll leave it to other people and greater minds than my own. This is gonna feel so good. Sire, I want to wake you up. It's like, how long has it been? It's over 700 days. What? I overslept. No! Clonk, clink, clonk, clink, clonk. Bum, bum, bum. That reminds me, my housemate is doing a stream of Final Fantasy X at the moment. And I'm thinking, I should really play that game again. It was an enjoyable game. But I come back to that thought and think about the play of... what is it? What was it? My brain's gone dead now. The play of Final Fantasy VIII. Oh. Final Fantasy VIII hurts my brain in so many ways. I know lots of people like Final Fantasy VIII, but the combat system in that, there are so many things about that that upsets me in that combat system. And the way that you get abilities and whatnot depends on which summons you have G-linked into and stuff like that. It's like, it made it difficult to play that game properly sometimes. And then the break limits and whatnot, that was another thing that was just, ugh. It's a bit like playing Final Fantasy 15 at the moment. I like it, but at the same time, there are things about it that I really don't like. It's a good game, it's a pretty game, but I can't say it's a great game. But yeah, that's another whole kettle of fish of game development. Like, which is your favorite Final Fantasy game? Comment below. It's like, you are in so much trouble! People are going to kill you! No, they're not. They love me. They love my commentary. No, they don't. It's like, shut up. Just let them know that. Alright, time to awaken the king! For this auspicious moment, it is finally arrived. And today will mark the last and final time we will awaken the king. I don't even know what I'm expecting, really. I've read the cheat guides and everything, but no one actually says what happens. They just say the game ends. Like, huh, okay. And here we are. 400 days has passed. The wait is finally over. How will the king reward his most faithful guardian? How indeed. It's time to wake up. But George got crushed. My faithful shade, you have awakened me, and I have kept my promise. I have created a world without longing by destroying everything in it. Ah! All life has perished, but we need it no longer. We shall forever rule this eternal kingdom. Oh, this is a bad ending. Oh. Oh. No. We get to live forever with the king. Okay then. Huh. I was not expecting that. So the king and the shade get to live together forever and not suffer. Huh. Well, okay. That I was not expecting. At all. The longing has ended. It has. Huh. Well, anyway, that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that ending. But yeah, that was really interesting. And yeah. Huh. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed The Longing and all the subsequent things that have gone through it, my ramblings and all the other bits and pieces. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and have a happy and fun time. Don't stress yourself. Don't make your life an utter hell by making other people more important than yourself. Remember, if you can't help yourself, how can you help others? And I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.